Bureau.
ABC Radio Brisbane traffic.
Good morning. At the moment, Logan Lee got a breakdown. Logan Motorway westbound the emergency bay near Kingston Road. Traffic's back to Meadowbrook with peak conditions. A broken down truck at Drewvale. Logan Motorway westbound as well near the Gateway extension, partially in a lane, but no delays in that stretch. Centennial Highway is building through Carroll Park and Sumner to Jindalee. It's just motorway as well between Darra and Oxley. Quite busy on Jubilee Terrace inbound through Barden, approaching Cooper's Camp Road. I'll have more details after 7 on ABC Radio Brisbane.
Thanks for that, Brad. It would certainly be brass monkey weather for those taking part in that nudie swim for Dark Mofo. It's 6 to 7 on this Tuesday, the 22nd of June on ABC Radio Brisbane.
Now, if you had an accident, a cycling accident, a fall, a car crash and acquired a disability, you would probably think you can rely on the National Disability Insurance Scheme, the NDIS, for help. But if you are aged over 65, you won't necessarily get it.
And a campaign's being launched today to change that. It sounds like this.
Disability doesn't discriminate, but the government does. Over 65 and become disabled, you're not eligible for NDIS funding. It's not fair. It's time to end age discrimination.
It's a campaign started by Spinal Life Australia. Its chief executive is Mark Townend. Morning to you, Mark.
Good morning, Craig, Loretta.
Why, if you're over 65, can't you access the NDIS?
Because the government changed the legislation on anti-discrimination in 2013 to make sure it could be prosecuted for the discrimination if you're over 65. So if you're over 65, you can get 20% of what the NDIS would normally pay, and you just can't get out of bed at that time.
So with that option, how do they get their money? What do they have to do?
They don't get their money. That's the fact. So if you're over 65, so your parent or a sibling has an over 65 at a family barbecue, falls down the stairs, becomes a quadriplegic, paraplegic, they can't get the funding. So therefore they can't get the help to get out of bed 7 days a week.
So that surely they have to use some scheme like the My Age scheme. Is that right?
No. The My Age scheme is about 20% value compared to the NDIS. So, for example, there's many families that might help their sibling or their parents get to have some care, and what will happen is they'll help them out a couple of days a week. Those other days they can't get there, no one else can get there, and there's no budget to help, so therefore they stay in bed for 3 or 4 days a week. They can't go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
This is happening in a humane country.
So, Mark, what do you want to be done from here with this campaign?
We need every elected member in Canberra to have a conscience, sit around and change the legislation to make sure it doesn't matter what age you are. If you get acquire a disability after 65, you get the help expected you should in a humane country. That means that the government's got that safety net for you. We don't have it now. These people have paid taxes. Some have fought for the country, and yet they're the ones who have thrown onto the scrap heap.
So what can people do then to support the campaign?
They've got to get on the website, disabilitydoesn'tdiscriminate.com.au, put their details in. It'll automatically send a letter off or an email off to their local federal member. If you see your federal member for some other reason, remind them, have a conscience, look after those older Australians. We're not doing it now, and I don't think the average Australian realises that's the system.
Mark Townend is with you on ABC Radio Brisbane. He's the Chief Executive of Spinal Life Australia. Can I just clarify something, Mark? Does this only apply if you acquire a disability over the age of 65?
Yes, so if you had a disability before 65 and NDIS, it flows through. You continue to get the care. But if you're over 65, as I say, there's many of us in this situation with our parents or our siblings are a little bit older, have an accident, next minute you think, oh, well, the government will help, we'll all pitch in, the family and everything else. There's no help from the government. There's very little under the My Age care, but then that takes a long time as well to get through. So the NDIS is a great scheme. It's got a few hiccups for a small amount of people, but it's generally a really good scheme. And we just need to make sure that or some other access to proper funding to ensure that older Australians are looked after like they should be in a humane country. And
when you are older, the fact is you are more prone to accidents, full stop.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's a case you'll see in the Courier Mail today. There's a case of a guy, 74-year-old, really healthy guy, great member of the community, had a cycling accident, then realised that he can't get help. His wife has his full-time care now. Luckily, he's got some support there. There's lots of people who don't have that support around the family.
And the depression that can cause as well for those people, just knowing they need help and they're, in pain or can't get around. So disabilitydoesn'tdiscriminate.com.au. Hop on the website, you'll see how you can join the call for the discrimination to be stopped. Mark Townend, thanks for telling us about it.
Thanks, Lola. Thanks, Craig.
He's the Chief Executive of Spinal Life Australia. News in 2 minutes.
This is ABC Radio